And now we will move to the next agenda item, and I would like to give the floor to our Deputy Executive President to chair this section, to Dr. Adriana Pistel. So please, Adriana.
Yes, thank you very much. The next agenda item is item number 3, report of the 13th Standing Committee of the Regional Committee for Europe. And in order to allow Dr. Marat Shoranov to present the activity of the 13th Standing Committee of the Regional Committee, I was asked to chair this agenda item. Thank you for your trust, Marat. For this item, the relevant documents are displayed on the screen. So in this view, I would like to give the floor now to Dr. Marat Shoranov, Chairperson of the 13th SCRC, to deliver the Chair's report. Dr. Shoranov, you have the floor.
So, distinguished Regional Director, distinguished RC73 officers, esteemed delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to have the distinct privilege of introducing to you today the report of the 30th session of the Standing Committee of the Regional Committee for Europe. For a more detailed account, I refer to the consolidated report of the SCRC, as well as to the individual meeting reports, which are all accessible on the official website of the WHO Europe. This occasion holds particular significance for me, since this year, in line with celebration of Almaty and Astana declarations, 75th anniversary of the WHO, we also celebrate the remarkable milestone of 3 decades since the inaugural meeting of the Standing Committee of the Regional Committee, which convened in 1993 in a prestigious picturesque city of Solothurn, Switzerland. The SCRC comprises delegates from 12 member states who are elected by the Regional Committee with the mission to act as a permanent bridge between the member states and the regional director to keep oversight and provide guidance in order to ensure that member states' view and concerns are taken into account in the definition and implementation of WHO policies and programs at regional level. After our meeting in the Regional Committee last year in Tel Aviv, 4 new member states joined the SCRC, which are Greece, Luxembourg, Romania, and Ukraine. In total, the SCRC met 5 times, 1 in-person meeting, 2 hybrid and 2 virtual meetings. My country had pleasure of hosting in March this year SCRC session in Almaty under the auspices of Dr. Ajar Giniyat, the Minister of Health of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And this gave a valuable opportunity to present my country's achievements as a primary healthcare champion while reaffirming the commitment to universal health coverage and to leaving no one behind. The Standing Committee has played a paramount and instrumental role advising on the multifaceted preparations for highly anticipated 37th session of the Regional Committee, and it is a sense of profound humility and honor that our country is hosting this session of the Regional Committee in a vibrant city of Astana during these October days. This highlights not only the effectiveness of the Standing Committee's effort, but also underscores our nation's commitment to fostering collaborative disclosure and progress within the WHO European region. The members of the 30th SCRC supported the continuation of subgroups focusing on WHO Europe's country-level work and governance, and allow me to mention here some key highlights of work of these subgroups. The first subgroup on work at country level, which was chaired by Dr. Alena Steflova from Czech Republic, was tasked to follow up on the implementation of the strategy for collaboration between WHO Europe and European member states in the region, which has been adopted by RC72. This was pursued based on a project and member state-centered approach. Dialogue with member states had been set up in particular through the adoption of medium-term country cooperation strategies in 9 countries, with a further 20 in preparation. The Secretariat has prepared for this session of the Regional Committee a progress report on implementation of country strategy in line with the midterm report of implementation of the EPW. So, next subgroup, chaired by Ms. Anna Wexberg from the United Kingdom, the subgroup on WHO Europe's governance primarily concentrated on conducting a comprehensive governance review in consultation with member states, which we will discuss in detail tomorrow. Additionally, it undertook responsibilities such as overseeing the nominations and elections process and addressing ad hoc inquiries concerning special rules of procedure, unique sessions, and procedural matters. The subgroup also explored options for improving transparency and accountability, the resolution process, and the conduct of governing bodies meetings. The comprehensive governance review has put forth several significant suggestions, which will be entrusted to the 31st Standing Committee of the Regional Committee to advance through its important work. And I congratulate Dr. Adriana Pistel from Romania as the forthcoming chair of the SCRC 31. So please accept my congratulations. And on membership of governing bodies and the committees, the Standing Committee at its meeting in June reviewed the nominations that had been received to assess which ones would best meet the criteria set out in the rules and resolutions. This outcome was communicated to the candidates to give them the opportunity to achieve consensus among them. 2 weeks ago, the SCRC reviewed this situation again. As there were still more candidates than vacant seats, the assessment reports have now been communicated to you for information in view of the private meeting tomorrow and a possible election procedure. So, dear ministers, representatives, your excellencies, the work of the 30th SCRC is a good example that WHO can only achieve its mandate on health for all if member states take full ownership of its policies and programs WHO develops to support countries and their people. This close engagement with member states, including with you, esteemed excellencies, is vital, not only to ensure transparency and accountability, but also to benefit from countries' rich experience and experience to guide, to inform WHO policies. This is a way to guarantee that WHO supports, meets our stakeholders' expectations and adapts to the national context. In closing, I would like to thank all the members of the Standing Committee for their availability and commitment. Special thanks to my Vice Chair, Ms. Anna Wexberg from the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and to the chairs of the subgroup. Let me also thank Dr. Vesna Kristin Petric from Slovenia for ensuring the link between alignment with the executive board at the global level. Finally, all my appreciation goes to the regional director, to Dr. Hans Kluge and his team of directors, and the whole staff and the secretariat at the regional office for their determination, commitment, and resilience. Now, nearly 3 years in permanent crisis modus. I hereby certify that the report that you have received gives an accurate account of the 30th session of the SCRC. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shoranov, for very short, brief, and comprehensive report. If there are any questions or comments on this report? So any delegations don't have any comments or questions? Okay, so now I would like to give the floor to the regional director. If you like to add anything else, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Deputy Executive President. I would like to thank you warmly, dear Chair of the SRC, dear Professor Shoranov, dear Marat. My sincere gratitude for what has undeniably been a wonderful journey of collaboration over the past few years. It all began with your role as a member in SCRC 28, then as a vice chair in SCRC 29, and finally chair in SCRC 30. As we come to the end of Kazakhstan's term as a member of the Standing Committee, I also want to acknowledge and extend our sincere appreciation to the other outgoing members from the Czech Republic, Norway, and the UK. Your unwavering commitment and remarkable contributions during these last 3 years have made really a great impact, and we are profoundly grateful to each of you, because as Professor Shoranov was telling, it has been a very, very particular 3 years. Never when I contacted any one of you, you delayed or you did not pick up the phone each time to provide advice, me as region director in these times, also facing a lot of uncertainties. This was a tremendous reassurance. Special note of gratitude to the SCRC Vice Chair, Ms. Anna Vexberg, including for your capacity as the Governance Subgroup Chair, for your dedication and hard work, which really was instrumental. When I was preparing my address, my speech for this morning, I mean, it's amazing which steps have been taken really to move forward towards resilient governance. Thank you so much, Anna. Also, thank you very much to Dr. Alina Stevlova, who skillfully led the work on the subgroup on the country work. A lot of work as well. And to Dr. Catherine Lofthuis for the many, many advices, including on the TAR, the Top Accountability Report, for which now we feel much more comfortable to present it tomorrow. And for your whole team, dear Catherine. Finally, I want to thank the whole SCRC membership for their continued support. Looking ahead, I'm confident that under the strong leadership of our next chair, Professor Adriana Pistol, we'll be able to build upon those successes of this year and the previous ones. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Professor Marat.
Thank you very much, Regional Director. I will ask then again if the committee is willing to adopt the proposed draft resolution by consensus, so there is. Okay, so I see a flag from Russian Federation. Any other?
Госпожа председатель,
You
наше
have the floor.
замечание...
You have the floor.
Спасибо большое, госпожа председатель. Нами были ранее направлены замечания в секретариат. Мы бы хотели попросить и распространить их среди стран-членов.
Okay, thank you very much, Russian Federation, for this intervention, which means that I suppose all the delegations might need a bit more time to negotiate in order to reach consensus in the spirit of our regional committee. Therefore, I am proposing to propose the suspend of this item and return to the adoption of the draft decision later on, if this is acceptable. The documentation will be available as soon as possible for all the delegations. Seems like this is acceptable. Thank you very much. And now I will give back the floor to our Executive President, Dr. Marat Shoranov. Dear Marat, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, dear Adriana, for chairing this agenda item. It seems like we've got a long day, but we still, as I reaffirmed earlier, we received several requests for the right to reply, and there are 3 countries already who mentioned that, so we need to provide them an opportunity to reply. So first, I'll go with the Russian Federation. So, Russian Federation, you have the floor, please.
Спасибо, господин председатель. С сожалением констатируем продолжающуюся политизацию повестки дня специализированной площадки регионального сотрудничества в области здравоохранения. Но мы не можем не отреагировать на выпады против нашей страны. Наши западные коллеги призывают к скорейшему прекращению боевых действий. При этом на деле они продолжают делать ровно обратное – накачивать Украину различными вооружениями и отговаривать киевский режим от реалистичных сценариев урегулирования украинского кризиса. Еще раз напомню европейским коллегам про минские договоренности, которые были ими торпедированы для накачки Украины вооружениями, и российские предложения по гарантиям взаимной безопасности в Европе, которые также были высокомерно отвергнуты. Сегодня на стороне киевского режима действует по меньшей мере 13 иностранных частных военных компаний и 9 военизированных прокси-формирований, то есть хорошо вооруженные и обученные бойцы из 35 государств. Все это говорит об одном. Долгосрочная цель европейских стран – это победа над Россией на поле боя любой ценой. В мире ни на Украине, ни где бы то ни было еще европейские коллеги, к сожалению, не заинтересованы. Спасибо за внимание.
Благодарю, Российская Федерация. So, thank you very much, Russian Federation. Next, we received a request to reply from Azerbaijan. So, Azerbaijan, you have the floor.
Thank you. Your Excellencies, honorable colleagues, we exercise our right of reply in response to the accusations made by France and Armenia during the general discussions of an ongoing session. We reject the groundless allegations on recent developments in the region. We would like to highlight that from 19th to 20th September 2023, Azerbaijan carried out local counter-terror measures fully in line with its rights under the UN Charter to disarm the Armenian armed formations illegally stationed in the sovereign territory of Azerbaijan. During and after the counter-terror measures, United Nations and other international actors have been closely watching the developments in the region. United Nations mission, composed of several agencies, has twice visited the Karabakh region of Azerbaijan. The UN team reported no damage to civilian public infrastructure, including hospitals, schools and housing, or to cultural and religious structures in the city of Khankendi. The mission did not come across any reports, neither from the local population interviewed nor from the interlocutors, of incidences of violence against civilians following the latest ceasefire. The mission did not observe any destruction of agricultural infrastructure or dead animals from the road. These observations were also confirmed by the findings of UNHCR office in Armenia and the ICRC, as well as foreign journalists covering developments in Karabakh region. In addition, the Prime Minister of Armenia, in his statements made on 20th and 21st September 2023, dismissed all these accusations by publicly acknowledging that there is no direct threat to the civilians in Karabakh. All these facts, once again, prove that there was no direct threat to Armenian civil population in Karabakh, and their mass move was stemming from the political agenda and instructions of the former illegal separatist Armenian regime, rather than genuine security concerns of local Armenians of Karabakh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Azerbaijan. Now I see Spain would like to use the right to reply. Please, Spain, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. This is a reply regarding the latest intervention of the Russian delegate, and on two comments from his part. The first one alleging that some member states, Western states, were here politicizing this WHO regional committee session. So in this respect, we have to underline that the direct and indirect health impacts of Russia's illegal and unjustified aggression against Ukraine is of the utmost concern, because the war has national, regional, and global consequences on health. The war continues to rage to the detriment of the health, not only by those directly affected by violence, but of people far beyond Europe. The exacerbation of an already significant global food security crisis, as well as the risks of radiological, biological, and chemical events and hazards, are some of the wider than regional health and humanitarian impacts resulting from the Russian Federation's aggression against Ukraine. The extensive health response in host and refugee receiving countries is another example of the far-reaching effects of this unprovoked, unjustified, and illegal war of aggression, which we condemned in the strongest possible terms. We call on the Russian Federation to immediately cease its hostilities, including attacks on health care facilities and health workers. As such, it is without a doubt justified that these issues be addressed by WHO European region member states. And the second comment was a misleading narrative and accusations regarding the fostering by Western countries of the war in Ukraine. Russia's brutal war has brought immense suffering and destruction upon Ukraine and its people. Russia must stop this atrocious war immediately. The European Union, as we said before, will stand by Ukraine with a steadfast support for as long as it takes. And we regret that the Russian Federation against use this platform for health-related decisions and discussions to misrepresent the facts. The European Union and its member states strongly condemn these indiscriminate and deliberate attacks on civilians and civilian infrastructure, including attacks on healthcare facilities and health workers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Spain. I also see that Armenia raised the name tag. So Armenia, please, you have the floor.
Thank you. Distinguished delegates, I have presented the Azerbaijan offensive against people of Nagorno-Karabakh, which targeted also civilian population and led to factual ethnic cleansing, as more than 100,000 persons were forcibly displaced. I will present now 3 stories and leave for your decision how to call it. 10-year boy who was displaced from his motherland after being wounded by a weapon of Azerbaijani soldiers. He was on the way to Armenia almost 44 hours. The road only in normal time takes 1 hour. 44 hours he passed with the weapon bullet in his leg. In the same ward, another child was wounded by weapon. He has 200 shrapnel wounds in his body. That's why it was dangerous to evacuate him to abroad. His 16-year brother was killed. His mother was wounded and also in the hospital. Dr. Hans visited these kids while being in Armenia. Marta is a young 90-year girl who has been wounded during an explosion when was rushing out of her homeland with her family. She has almost 50% of her body surface burned. She lost her fingers, her face completely unrecognizable. She used to be a dancer. She has been generously evacuated to France for more qualified treatment. As rapid medical response now, we are concentrated mainly on first aid activities, but one should not forget about the mental health issues that almost all the forcibly displaced people face. These are only a few stories out of 100,000 people who has their own health sufferings. Unfortunately, despite the efforts of Armenia during this month, it was not possible to ensure access of UN bodies on the ground. Azerbaijan allowed the visit of the UN delegation on a limited status after it had already carried out the ethnic cleansing of Armenians. Distinguished delegates, we do agree it is important to achieve lasting peace, as there cannot be health without peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Armenia. And the Russian Federation wants to take its second and the last right to reply. Please be very, very brief. You have the floor.
Спасибо, господин председатель. Я еще раз напомню, что российская специальная военная операция проводится в полном соответствии со статьей 51 Устава ООН. Украинские власти и их западные покровители, пользуясь своим доминированием в информационном пространстве, которое полностью зачищено от объективных данных, привлекают внимание к потерям и страданиям только одной страны. К сожалению, сведения о жертвах и разрушениях на территории Донбасса и Приазовья старательно замалчиваются. Украинские военные с самого начала конфликта на Донбассе проводят целенаправленные атаки именно на критическую гражданскую инфраструктуру, объекты вода- и теплоснабжения, жилые домостроения, образовательные и медицинские учреждения, а также объекты электро-, водо-, тепло- и газоснабжения. Спасибо.
Благодарю Российская Федерация. Thank you very much, Russian Federation. I see that Ukraine want to make some intervention. Please, you have the floor.
Thank you, dear Chairman. I am outraged by the speech of the representative of Russia, and as usual, Russia politicians speaks nonsense, and I have questions about Donbass, Crimea, and another our land. It's Ukraine, and I have questions. What are you doing in my country? And you can stop the war and get out from my country and live in your country. We don't ask you, come to Ukraine.
Thank you very much, Ukraine. And dear colleagues, I don't see any other countries or member states who are willing to provide any other rights to reply. Therefore, I would say that all your statements will be noticed for the record. And now we need to go to the closing procedures of the day one of the Regional Committee 73. And it was indeed a very long day, and now we're about to end it. So tomorrow, we start the day 2 with the private session of the election and nominations, where only member states representatives, alternates, and advisors are participating, and relevant members of the Secretariat. As my country has submitted nominations for governing bodies and nominations, Dr. Ajar Giniyat and I will not preside over this session, and accordingly, I would be to take this opportunity to mention that as Kazakhstan is a host country for this year's regional committee, and I would like to announce the Kazakhstan's position. So Kazakhstan is willing to step back from the executive board nominations for this year. The private session will be chaired by the Deputy Executive President, Dr. Adriana Pistel, and the public session will be resumed after the morning coffee break at 11 a.m. So thank you very much for your support, Adriana. And let me now give the floor to Ms. Gabrielle Jacob for some household messages before we adjourn for the day. Adriana, you have the floor. Well, Gabrielle, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Dear colleagues, the buses are outside now to bring you back to your hotels, and at 7 o'clock, the buses will be available to bring you from your hotels to the venue for this evening's Regional Directors Reception, which is in Sultanat Sarai. If we could please ask you to leave your headsets in the room, please. When you leave, that would be very much appreciated. Tomorrow our session starts at 9 a.m. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you this evening at the reception and wishing you a good evening. Thank you very much for today. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gabriel, and for a very productive day today, for all the translators and for the entire Secretariat. And the session is adjourned, and have a lovely evening. So see you at the RD's reception. Thank you.